I've always been a big masturbator. My first experience with porn was the Harry Potter fan fiction that I wrote. It is a limitless way to create porn. I couldn't do it if I was a boy.
Hi, my name is Bree Mills, and I am a porn director with a purpose. Now, throughout my career, I have covered just about every niche, and I've created some award-winning films and brands along the way. But now, I'm much more interested in getting to know the real people behind my characters. And that's because I believe adult entertainers can be some of the most powerful role models when it comes to sex ed, consent, empowerment, and wellness. By asking the right questions, our community can really help people better understand themselves. So that's the mission of this podcast. Let's get up close. Jay Taylor.
Bree Mills.
So how long has it been?
Since, I don't know, I feel like every time I see you at events, I like stand and stare at you for a while. And then I'm like, I tell my boyfriend, I'm like, she's like, it's Bree. And he's like, go. And I'm like, hi.
Well, it's nice because like I haven't really been to any events. Well, first of all, thank you. That's very flattering. I haven't been to any events really since like the pandemic. And I think we saw each other last right before that, right?
It was a weird time.
Oh boy. Anyway, how are you?
I'm doing great.
I noticed that we were just talking about this before we started rolling. And as you'll see, I don't have my glasses on. I can't have my glasses on, everybody, because they are reflective in the cameras.
It's really annoying.
It is. It's the bane of it's not just the bane of my existence. I would say it's the bane of production because you always want a character with glasses. But then as soon as they put the glasses on, you have to figure out contextually how to get the glasses off because of the reflections. But you also rock glasses for so long.
I did.
But now you don't. What has happened?
I did. I got my eyeballs lasered with a big giant laser. It was so cool. It was really cool. It was the most science fiction thing I've ever done. And I like science fiction and I like really cool, interesting experiences. So like, do you want me to talk about it?
I mean,
I assume you did, but I wanted to like make sure. So like you lay down on this bed and then they swing. I did the smile procedure. So LASIK, we're going to get really medical right now, which is awesome. Super sexy. For LASIK, they cut a flap out of your, I think the cornea is on top, and then they lift it and laser under. And the smile procedure, which I did, they just cut a little slit and go under it. So that's what I did. And the smile procedure is faster and takes less time to heal, but it's very sensitive. Like if you wiggle your eyeball, like you can't, like it's, you fucked it up. So they lay you down and they like, then they numb your eyeballs and then they have to clean them, which like, you know, when you wipe across a camera lens, it's that, but it's your eye. So it's them cleaning your eyes with these wipes.
While they're numb.
Yeah. So you can see it. It's like, it's super cool. And my doctor was like, because I'm like, hey, I'm super nervous. Just talk to me, be soft, like tell me what's going on. So she's like, you're doing really good, Jay. You're doing amazing. Keep your eye open. Don't wiggle. Like they tape one closed and like the other's held open. And then they bring this giant machine over your eye and it's like this green dot. And they're like, don't look away from the green dot. Don't look away. Don't blink. Don't move. Don't talk. Don't breathe. And you have to stare at the green dot for 45 seconds while it lasers your eye, which you can't feel. It's just a green dot. And then everything goes really goes dark and they close your eye and then they move on to the next one. And then they bring you up and it's two doctors looking at you like this. And then they come into focus and your eyes work. And it's just really gnarly.
Yeah, and like a eureka moment or like
I just burst into tears.
Yeah.
Because it's
because you needed to wet your eyes.
Like, well, probably. And then you go home and you sleep for a couple hours.
Yeah. Oh, see, because I mean, I was just telling you, like I have taking these glasses off. I feel it's sort of strange to watch the playback of these episodes because I'm so used to wearing glasses 100% of the time. Like I'm essentially blind right now.
Yeah.
So, you know, you were mentioning that for you a big I guess sort of moment of reflection leading up to your laser surgery was, am I going to be the same Jay Taylor after this?
Well, I was super worried about it because as you know, like I have glasses and my avatars, it's what people come for. Like I'm the glasses girl.
Yes.
And now not having them, like people like even not my nicer fans who know me, but like the
casuals.
The casual. That's a good way to put it. The casual's like, where are your glasses? I'm like, I'm not wearing them. Like, it's fine. I'm still me. I thought it was going to really affect how I saw myself and be a drastic change that I couldn't take back. And so I had a lot of anxiety leading up to that, but that it was gone. Like it's such a really cool thing.
And
for porn, it's different because like I was blind. So like I wouldn't have been able to see you from here.
Yeah.
Like, so to have sex with someone, like it's, I don't like eye contact. It's the autism. Like I'm just, don't freaking look at me.
Yeah.
So that really helped because I couldn't freaking see who I was fucking.
Yeah.
So that was cool. It was really interesting for orgies though. Cause like just blurs.
It just blurs. Well, I mean, I actually always say that this is where this conversation is going exactly where I hoped it would go, which is like right into like both our mutual anxieties and like taking comfort in blindness. Yeah. But for me, I always find like the trick is that if I'm ever feeling anxious, I just take the glasses off because then by being kind of blurry, it makes it, you don't have to make that content. Yeah. So that's funny.
I can't do that anymore.
And now it's crystal clear when you're having sex with people, right?
I have to like look at me and I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. We're looking.
Yeah. But it's interesting that you mentioned about having that insecurity about like that kind of glasses being so part of your image and almost the fear of when I do this, even though I'm doing it for myself, is it going to negatively impact my career or my brand? I know that one of Adult Time's ambassadors, Siri doll, had a sort of similar experience where she had very large breasts and then, took the decision for her own health and comfort to do a reduction and, had to kind of walk that same line of, no, I'm doing this for myself, but getting a lot of like hate and having to go through a lot of, criticism for standing up for herself. And Cody Vore, another performer we work with a lot, just went through, her own reduction surgery but it's so amazing. Like, I'm so proud of all of you, but I'm so proud of like seeing that even though that's a legit fear, that at the end of it, you realize, and I hope you've realized that it wasn't as bad as you thought and that the true fans are there regardless.
Well, I'm very lucky in that respect. And I think it's because I call myself a little fish. I'm kind of a little fish. So like my fan base is little, but they are mighty. And they are so, you've seen the comments. Like they're loyal. More Jay Taylor. They love me. They're very nice. I'm very lucky on, I don't have a lot of bullshit that I have to deal with.
Yeah.
And when I do, I take care of it really quickly. I'm like, hey, we're a happy space here. You're not allowed to not be happy with me.
Well, I'm proud that you did that. I'm proud that it turned out that that you can see clearly and that
it's cool, man. I would recommend it. Oh my God. Okay. So you're a Disney person, I assume?
I've been to Disney. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I could see on Space Mountain. The first time I went on Space Mountain and I cried. Like, that because I've been since I was a little kid and being able to see rides, like that's insane. Like I ride horses and I used to take my glasses off and ride blind as hell. I can see shit. Like it's wild.
So tell me, Jay Taylor.
Yes.
Going from this point of extreme clarity that you now have to the very humble beginnings. For those who are not in that, that small dedicated pool who are just getting to know you for the first time, maybe walk us through your story of how you got into the industry.
Yeah, cool. So I originally wanted to be a sex therapist. Like that was my goal. I did it a little bit in like high school where because I remember hearing one of my friends or like a casual acquaintance like, oh my God, I can't talk to my boyfriend about sex. And that blew my mind. I'm like, but you have to. Like, that's the one person, like, for sure. And so, like, I would, like, give advice and, like, always doing tons of research, always very interested in sexology as, like, a science and wanting to help people in that way. And I've gotten to do some of that with my career. Like, I actually had a fan who's on the spectrum as well and treated me like a person. Like we chatted and then like sexted maybe a little, like it kind of escalated in the chat. And he has a girlfriend now and like he really likes her and now he's having sex and it's like a really cool thing. And I've been able to do things like that and help people like in their marriages. I do a lot of like pussy eating instructionals and stuff. And guys will be like, dude, I did your tips and she went wild. And so like, that's cool. Yeah. So I wanted to be a sex therapist and I left high school as a virgin, but I had a long-term boyfriend. And so I was in college, like community college, doing general education, and I had sex, and I couldn't do any more book learning after that. It's like feels like the sluttiest thing to say, but I couldn't function. Like I get hyper focused and like obsessive because of the neurodivergence. I couldn't. Like I wouldn't go to class. Like there was a guy I had a crush on, and I would go to school and go to his class. Like I just fucking couldn't. I couldn't care. So I dropped out of college and I had a friend who was into fashion. So we did like some photo shoots like right out of high school. And he did transsexual camming. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. He's like, look at all the money I make. And I'm like, that's very interesting. And so like my first time on cam, I was banned from the site because I added my email address in the topic, but I made like $400 my first night. And I was like, this is insane because I did nothing. Like I was like, and like just,
yep.
So that was how I started. And then I cammed for a year. And then I got into, I did girl and some like BDSM stuff because I really am that joke on The Office. I'm a decent baiter, but Mose is a masturbator. I'm a masturbator. Yeah. Like, so I wanted to shoot for, fucking machines. I reached out to fucking machines. Device bondage was my first time on camera, which is not fucking machines. But I was like, okay. Like I wrote like a 10-page blog about it, like a huge, cool experience. So I did girl and some BDSM, which I no longer really do BDSM anymore. And then got a new boyfriend who was comfortable with me doing boys. And now I do it all.
Now you do it all.
Now I do it all.
How many years have you been in the industry?
10.
That's fascinating. So you went from kind of amateur sexologist, sex therapist to like born again sex addict to a sex entrepreneur.
Yes. Yeah, I like that. Because I was always super, like, I've always been a big masturbator. Like, I was, I just never stopped. Like, it's a stim. I have to do it all the time. So, yeah. And then once I finally started having sex, I just became very obsessive about it.
Yeah, it clicked. Wow. So I want to unpack. There's some things in here I want to unpack because it's really fascinating. So as in those, early years where you were giving a lot of friends advice, what you mentioned doing a lot of research and
Cosmo.
Cosmo, there you go. Okay, so that leads me to
Cosmo, the Joy of Sex. Like any book I could get my hand on, I wanted to read. I wanted to learn everything. I remember like way back, like the first like puberty book, like learning about masturbation and bisexuality. And I remember that it clicked in my brain. Because it clicked that not everyone was bisexual. And that was insane to me. Like, what do you mean? All the girls play with each other's hair. We're not, like, they're not? Like, It was so weird. That was a weird, interesting click for me, so.
And what, obviously something about sexuality as subject matter, like,
yes,
connected with you from the beginning. But how did you feel? There must have been a sense of confidence from the beginning of being able to, because as you said, it blew your mind that people couldn't talk about it. But one of I think the greatest sort of social issues we face is sex is this extremely fundamental thing to all of us in our own unique way. But the ability to talk about sex is really difficult for most people. So what about you made it not difficult to talk about even before you actually did it?
Well, part of it, because I was a blowjob girl. Like, I'm like, hey, like, oh my God, you got a football game? Hey, what's up? Like, I was a blowjob girl. But I was so like I scared the boys off. So like if I hadn't wanted to talk about sex, people would have had sex with me. But I was so like, oh my God, so like cunnilingus, like let's fucking talk about it. And they were like, what the fuck? That's weird as hell. Like, so no one was into it. No one was into me. So there was like a sense of pride in not having intercourse. So when I did, it was in a long-term relationship, someone I loved, and it was like really kind of special. But yeah, I gotta forget your question. I got excited.
No, but that was what gave you that instant confidence. But like you said,
I kind of liked the attention and the shock, and also it's really fascinating and interesting.
It is. Oh, and we're going to unpack a lot about that.
I know. I'm very excited.
So we talked about the joy of sex. We talked about Cosmo. One of my favorite questions to ask is, when you think back, what pop culture or media reference sort of sticks out in your mind as really like influencing your early ideas of sexuality?
Oh my God, that's really hard. Oh wait, no, it's not. It was music. It was music. So I would play solitaire on the family computer, and I had this playlist of sex songs, and I liked sex songs. There was her name's Lady Bitch Ray. And she's a German rapper, and her songs are dirty. And I was fascinated. So every sex song, and also fan fiction. So like my first experience with porn was the Harry Potter fan fiction that I wrote, and then like finding other fan fiction. So I'd listen to my sex playlist and I'd read fan fiction in the freaking family room, like. And then what happened with Snape, like.
And you mentioned that the first sort of studio scene you ever did was for Kink's device bondage. And that for you was like, that's what you wanted to do, fucking machines, but that would be like the next best option. Now, what was it about that? I mean,
it wasn't the next best option, but because I was terrified. I was terrified. It was really scary. This was like I think I was 20. And so like I moved out of my parents' house. I was living with my boyfriend, but my anxiety was still like very unchecked up here, like crazy. It was so, to shoot with Kink, this was my first scene. I had to get on a plane, fly to somewhere else, which is very horrifying, and let a strange man tie me up and finger me and beat me, and horrifying. And I'm like, oh my God. So there was a lot of crying, a lot of stomach upset. And I remember being there and then being like, you don't have to do it. I'm like, oh no, I'm fucking doing it. I'm fucking doing it. And I worked with Orlando, who retired like right after I shot, and he was so nice. And Kink, they kind of treat you like a princess. They were very nice to me. It was kind of like now I do trail runs, but it was like proving like the physicality, like I can do this thing. That was really fucking cool for me. Really fucking cool. And then unfortunately, since my experience with Kink was so good, I shot with other companies that were not as good, where I was pushed past my mental breaking point, where it wasn't the same sort of, no, this is a very safe thing that we're doing, and this is performance and it's fine. It was more for the person's fetish and that.
Right.
So I'm like, no, we're good. Like, don't fucking hit me.
Yeah. Well, and that's, you obviously worked in studio porn, as we call it, or mainstream porn, as we call it, for a good number of years. And then you took a break where you were focusing more, I think, on your own projects, your own content. Obviously, there was a pandemic that happened as well. Is that accurate?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You saw my face. I don't want to gotcha you.
No, but please gotcha me.
No, I didn't fucking take a break. What happened is I tried for years. I was like, studio porn. And some girls hit, and guys too.
Yeah.
Some girls fucking don't.
Yeah.
I didn't hit. So I said, okay, fine. I'm here. If you guys want me, I'm fucking here, but I'm going to do this other shit. Like, it's fine. And I just stopped pushing.
Yeah.
And I stopped being upset about it. And for the pandemic, I think I turned down 2 scenes during the pandemic, but then like everyone thought like Jay's done. Jay was not done. Jay was right there.
Yeah. Well, there, it is a gotcha moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's actually it's still a really good catalyst, because you're here.
I'm here.
And we've
bigger boobs.
Their glasses are optional. looking fantastic.
Oh my God.
and the most important thing too is that, you know, like you said, you took decisions, right? Like, I'm not going to play the old games, be it, you know, falling into, you have positive studio experiences. You had some that were not so positive.
Oh yeah.
Coming and learning, like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to like get sucked into that, you know,
I don't
feeling of needing to do that. Same deal with like, I don't need to like put myself out there. If it's not going to hit, I'm going to be myself and let people come to me. So like, what have you, even though it's not a comeback, I would say it's a coming to your own terms.
It is. I mean, the way we're talking about it, the more I'm like, you know, it fucking is. Because like we'll get into audio, but like audio therapy, becoming more in touch with my sexuality, like figuring out what I actually want. I'm here if you want me, but on my terms. Like I say, I've always had a very strong no, which is why I don't get fucked with like on set. Like I don't have really bad experiences because I fucking don't. Like you can't. But yeah, like I'm here to have really, really good sex with people who are fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's it. Like if that's not what we're doing, then why are we fucking doing it?
Yeah. Well, for someone who's been in for 10 years, you've obviously seen a tremendous amount of change.
It's crazy to think about, like looking back, like they're not in. None of the people I used to work with are in.
Yeah.
With very few exceptions. I think like Jessica Ryan is the earliest person I worked with who's still performing. It's crazy. What
do you feel like, you know, again, coming to a real clear understanding of your own terms and doubling down on what you always knew were, you know, your boundaries, but seeing the wave of change in general happen in the last 5-6 years. What's Jay Taylor looking for beyond great sex with cool people? But like, what are you looking for in terms of what you want to get out of working with studios?
So little. Like, so with studios, I mean, the problem with studio porn is I'm sure you've seen me have sex. I feel I want to be in it. I'm very reactive. I'm very orgasmic. And a lot of times, if we're playing a character, I feel like I can't do that because I've seen like cosplay porn where it's like, I'm a perfect character. I'm like, oh my God, the performance is so good. And then we get to the sex and it's just James Dean having sex, which is great. But it wasn't Moses Lack. Like I wanted to see Mo have sex. So you can't have the same, Jay Taylor can't have sex if you're casting me as someone else. So like I did, can I mention other companies?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. So I did, I did Big Bang for a company. I don't want to say the wrong company, but I did Big Bang. If you search Jay Taylor Big Bang, I did, not Penny, but it was Amy. I was Amy. I'm really fucking good at being Amy because she's me. So that was fun. I keep running over your questions. I'm too excited.
No, but the idea of like, you know, what you're looking for.
I want to show off. I just want to show off what I can do. I'm really good at what I can do, and I want a shot. Like, give me a shot. I know when I'm on set, I'm kind of quiet and a little resting bitch face, or like really aggressively sexual. Those are my two modes. But I'm really good at what I do with my audios because I want to make the porn that I want. I have kind of a limitless potential to like go to space or go to the Old West or go to a fantasy realm or my science fiction stuff. I want to direct things and I want to have really cool, incredible sex and make really cool shit.
So I want to talk about this audio.
Talk about your audio. Did you listen to any of it? Did you listen to me?
I have not, but simply because it's funny, my relationship with adult content, and this is probably a horrible thing to admit, given the position that I'm in, but I spend day in, day out thinking about it, but not in the way that most people do. Like the last time I got off to a porn, I can't even tell you, but it's like I get off to different things. I'll watch something, I'll be like, man, the lighting on that is good. Shout out to our amazing lighting people. Or I'll think like, if I'm watching, someone else in the space and they did something cool, I'll be like, damn, they did something good. So I look at it more from that like kind of either technical or just like an appreciation of the craft rather than to get off. And I've never been big into audio, but my wife is huge into audio. She like listens to audio erotica all the time. She's watching listening to some like fairy story right now. So you, I know, are like an audio porn aficionado.
I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with one man.
Okay, so can you please, like, for our viewers and our listeners who do not know about the world of audio porn, myself included, what should we know?
Okay, so I'll start at the beginning. So like it was back, I first started listening to audio in like the Tumblr days. And it was the first artist I listened to was a man called British Filth, and he would just it was mostly just like dirty talks, kind of sweet, kind of sexy. And it's becoming more of a trend now for men to be more vocal about their pleasure. Like I'm very interested in male pleasure, especially as a straight porn person, because we never get it. Like it never fucking exists. It's stoic, and there is a hard cock that comes, but that's it. Like there's no explanation of male pleasure. So like to see and hear and like feel like moans and dirty talk and like whimpers from a man was amazing to me. And so like I listened to that for a while and then moved on. And then I was doing whatever. And my sister is, let's just call her an English major. That's the gentle way to put she's an English major. And she was like, oh, wouldn't it be fun if like we put on masks and like told dirty stories, and it wouldn't have to be sexual, but it'd be kind of sexy. And I'm like, oh my God, erotic audio. This is so cool. And I'm like, and also your husband could do stuff too, because he has like that sexy like Latin voice. And I'm like, here, let me bring stuff up. So I brought up Cardlenish, because he did the story one I heard where it was like a knight captures you and he had sound effects, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I sent that to her, and the next one up was by Fade by Night, and it was demons drag you to hell and gangbang you. And I'm like, that is the stupidest, silliest thing I've ever heard of in my life. I'm going to listen to it. And it rocked my fucking world. Like I've been gangbanged, but it was the most immersive because he does directional audio, and there's like, you can hear like fire in the distance and like a big booming devil guy. And there's like all kinds of demons everywhere doing everything. And I'd never heard anything like that. So I get hyper fixated. So I listened to everything. And then I joined his Patreon, and then I like, hey, so I think I should commission you to write something for me. And then like we started talking, and then I was a huge fan and like devoured all his content for about a year because he's incredibly talented, not just as a performer, but as a storyteller. His shit's really, really, really good, really good. And then I started creating. So like the first one I did was he had a sleep paralysis demon audio, which I love. And my friend Sonia Harcourt was over, and I got her into Fade. And so I'm like, hey, can you like fuck me while I listen to this audio and like follow along? And she's like, and that was
another
like
level.
Not to like, but like maybe since Sarah likes audio, it's like maybe you want to like add that to your repertoire, because it was like a next level experience. That was so cool.
Good to know. I'll take note of that.
Just be like, no, just listen. It's fine. So I was listening to the sleep paralysis demon audio, and it just kind of like, I have to write one out right now. So I wrote one and recorded one in a night, and it took me like 2 hours, and then I posted it to Gone Wild Audio, which is where all of the audio is. Mm-hmm. And the response on it was amazing. And so I kept doing it. And at first I thought like, oh, this will get people to my OnlyFans. It fucking doesn't. Like it fucking does not.
Totally different demographic?
They just don't care.
Yeah.
And also on Gone Wild, they're not paying for porn. So they're like not going to. Yeah. So like it's fine. So I like, okay, whatever. But I really like doing it as a creative outlet. It is a limitless way to create porn. It is limitless. The only limit is I have to find the right sound effect. So like the last big one I did was like Westworld. So like I started where like, hi, welcome to Centauri. We're so happy you're here. Where I'm like AI and I walk you through what's going to happen. And then I put you in your little haptic suit with all like the sound effects of like suiting you in. And then I count you down under, and you're in a club. And you dance with a girl, and she makes it with a bartender, and then you like finger her in the car. And then there's like a sound cue, because this is the demo version. You're just seeing if you want to subscribe to Centauri. And you're in a castle, and a vampire drinks your blood, like, and then you're getting fucked by 3 girls because I can do like multiple voices, and it's just I can do anything.
Right. It's for your imagination, it's like limitless.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, if that would be a cool porno, I can fucking make it in my closet.
Do you watch anime stuff, or it's like
do.
There's a little bit of parallels in terms of like the.
But like, so this is here for the podcast, but I'm also here for how women orgasm. There is maintenance masturbation where I'm trying to come, and then there's like I'm having a good time. If I'm trying to come, it's when I'm watching porn, and I'm very specific on what I like. I don't like story except for like a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like I like knowing why is her stepmom having sex with her. Like that's what I want to know, but I want specifically oral sex on on women. But to like, no, the short answer is no, because it's not hardcore enough for me to get off to animation.
Yeah. But with the audio porn, that's like, you're treating yourself to a lot of like a nice night. It's an endeavor.
It's an endeavor. And like the guy I listened to, Fade by Night, like he's like, I bitch about it because he does all slow burns. So like, unless it's a ramble fab, which is, I'm just going to jerk off, you get to listen. It's like 15 minutes of slow buildup.
Sorry, I have to go back a second. He called it a ramble fap.
A ramble fap is what it's called. So I'm going to fap and we're going to talk. Like I'm jerking off and I'm just talking to you while I'm jerking off about how I'm jerking off and what I'm thinking about.
Got it. I love that term.
They're hard to do because it's performative, non-performative.
Yeah.
They're hard to do.
It's sort of like not quite a jerk off instruction. It's obviously not instructing the listener.
Off.
Yeah, but it's more of just I'm going to do this monologue.
Yes.
While I am jerking off.
Yes.
Ramble fap, everybody.
Yes. So unless it's that, which even he's a storyteller. So it'll be like 15, 20 minutes about why you're in this fantasy realm and why you have to go meet the vampire and who's going with you. And let's talk about the different locations of where the castle is located. And so like, since his voice is so good, you're like, oh, this is a beautiful story. And then it very slowly creeps into the sex. But it's like, it's crazy. Like some of my best sexual experiences have been listening to audio porn. Like I've lost use of my extremities, like where my hands will curl and like I can't walk. I lost vision with one. Like I'm like, I can't, like I film my reactions because I'm like, I can't, my pupils were all like, like I can't focus. Like it's like having sex with a person, except audio is perfect. Mm-hmm. Like if you're listening to the right thing, since it's all in your mind plus a little bit of extra help, it's having perfect sex with someone, which is amazing.
What are your thoughts on AI and the impact or opportunities for adult content that are going to come from AI?
So positive things. It can be a tool. Clio, which is where I post my audios, did a challenge where they wanted you to post 16 audios in a month. And so I asked AI for 16 titles. And that was a very nice tool. That was very helpful. But like, I know girls who run like AI chatbots, and it's not good. It's not good. And I'm sure you've like seen like oh baby, are you horny? It's like 3 a.m. Are you listening? And then it'll be like, oh yeah, that's so hot. Like it's just not good.
It's not, it doesn't feel
and it makes them feel
enough,
shitty. Yeah. Or even like what's worst is because I like manage people who will use AI, and then like the guys will come back like, oh baby, I'm so hard. And I'm like, you're not a robot, though. Yeah. It's a robot.
And unless this is a specific robot-themed audio porn story, I'm not interested in it.
So I think it's... Okay, let's go back because I get excited and overtalk. So my thing with how I run my own OnlyFans is I'm going to royally, you are a subscriber. Mm-hmm. You're a whole fucking person to me. So like, that's why I can't use the managers. Yeah. Because they're like, we're going to get so many people in. No, I don't fucking want that. You're Bree, you're subscribing. I'm here for you to have a really good experience. You are not just a wallet. You're not just an ATM. It's why my prices are really low, because I think about it as a fan. What would I like an OnlyFans to be. And that's how I run mine. You are very important to me. So I'm like super grateful. Like I'll be like, hey guys, I'm going to Disneyland. If you want to help, that's great. And then like they did. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys, I'm at Disneyland. I'm so grateful.
They're your community, your friends.
They've afforded me a lifestyle that no one else in my family has ever gotten to have. Like I'm so grateful for the place I'm in because these people have chosen to love and support me. And so what I can give back is as good of porn as I can make and my respect. Like you come in with respect unless you're a fucking douche and then you're, I'm done. This isn't a douche place.
What, for people that are getting into the industry these days, what advice would you have for them?
Just be yourself. That's really trite, but like, honestly, it's like, because people get like caught up in shit. Don't get caught up in shit. Don't fucking run your mouth on Twitter. Shut the fuck up. That was hard. Maybe don't put that in.
At least remember that what you post on Twitter stays there forever.
It stays there forever. So remember that everything's forever, and try to remember why you got in. Like if it was just a quick buck thing, like that's fine. But like, it can be a really cool place to be and be a really cool community, a really cool place to explore your sexuality in like a fun way. And the people I know who get to that point, it takes 10 years to get to that point. It doesn't fucking have to. And it doesn't have to with the women who like, from what I understand, from like the women who do it themselves, like the penny barbers, Larkin Loves. Like, no, I'm just going to run my own shit. Like, studio porn's over there. Like, I'm good. I'm going to cam. I'm going to do my own cool porn. And, like, I might come to studio porn in 10 years or whatever. But just do what you like. Or at least, like, in the right circumstances, you would probably like and do for free. It freaking hurts you. Like, it's not good. There's only 2 scenes I've done where I'm like, oh, that wasn't a fucking good thing. I shouldn't have done that. Don't do those things. And I'm at the point, like it just happened actually, where I'll never do it again. But I was to work with a girl and I had shot a bunch before. And so I'm like, hey, I don't want to do penetrative, but she really wanted to do strap on because she was on her period. But I changed my mind. I said, I don't want to do any penetrative. Like, I don't care if you're on your period. She did, but whatever. We can figure out something else. And she, you're going to be less proud of me. She pulled out a dildo out of her bag that was not in anything. And she handed me a strap on and said, put this in here. Like, just not clean. Just put it on in. And I was so fucking mad that she didn't give a shit. Like, she didn't ask me if I was cool. And she didn't say, hey, I'm going to wash this. Are you cool with this? Like, there was no consent talk. She just handed it to me. And so I did. And I was furious, but I put it in and she put it on and I took it. It's not good. But I'm not gonna not fucking protect myself anymore. It's not fucking worth it. It's not worth it. Like no one can ruin your career. Look into the camera. No one can ruin your career. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So just protect yourself and protect your soul and your heart and your sexuality. It's what's really important. Like if you're here doing this, be doing it whole.
It
was a lot.
No, but
fuck.
One thing that you said about, your relationship with your subscribers really resonates with me in terms of over the years, I think what I've come to realize, especially in terms of that sort of sense of like the importance of community and the importance of setting a tone.
They're my guys.
Yeah.
It's important. They're my friends.
Well, and I think about that even like for me, obviously, I when I'm on set, or obviously anybody who's working with us is on set, one of the biggest lessons we've learned over the years is that what you do doesn't matter. It doesn't hold a candle to how you do it. And if you don't place that equal or greater emphasis on how you are running your sets, what tone you are setting, avoiding what you think is common sense and really being explicit about, what standards are or what are the expectations from everybody, that's the most important thing that we can do. And so I think about that story, right, that you mentioned about the co-star who we can look at that situation. I think what, collectively can we do to educate that person so they know?
I'm not mad at
yeah.
It wasn't a purposeful thing. It didn't even occur to her. And I didn't stand up for myself.
Right. And it's, so I guess one of my thoughts on that is I feel that accountability behind, what can we do to help anybody who's coming into this business be set up to, the best of our ability, be able to like hone in on that autonomy and that agency, right?
Freaking choose them up.
Like, right.
So many people
for sure.
would be like, oh, where was she? Oh, she retired. She was only in 6 months. Uh-huh. Yeah. So
what if you could give, like, this will be a fun question. So for women coming into the industry, if you could give them like, if the general is sort of like be yourself and feel like confident in your convictions, do you have anything in particular that you would say to women or female identifying folks coming in? And same thing with guys.
Guys are so, I couldn't do it if I was a boy. Like that shit's hard. Like using a strap on is hard. Like I can't fuck that long. Like you guys have to that's gnarly. I don't think there's too much of a gender difference. I like working with people who are genuinely kind and who don't, I guess as a guy, if you are comfortable owning the fact that you have a sexuality and are not just a prop, but in like a nice way, because I understand, like I assume as a man, it would be very hard to come in here and have, oh man, damn it, Bree, I knew you were going to get me to a place, have a ton of self-respect because you are a prop in a lot of places. So for a minute, actually, no. Shoot your own fucking content. Shoot your own fucking content. Because if you get really good at that, people will come to you. Yeah. And then they'll come to you from a place of, oh, you want to fucking just fuck girls? Okay, it's $100 to be in this blow bang. They'll come from you to a place like, oh my God, I really want to do your first scene. Please let me pay you $1,000. Who would you like to work with? It'll be a totally different experience. So if you're a man who wants to come in here, it's really easy to have sex with hot chicks. Like it's really easy. You don't have to do this. This is a hard thing. It's a very physical thing. It's a very demanding thing. You don't get a lot of respect as a man at most studios. Like it sucks. The girls aren't always nice. So shoot your own freaking content. Learn if you really want to do this. And I give this advice to everyone and they're like, I don't fucking do it. Like you do it. It's really hard. So learn to do it and like show off. Like Kane Wolf is started as like, he was a TikTok like daddy dom. And I hope he doesn't get mad at me for saying that, but he shoots stunning solo content. And girls are like, hey, hey.
Well, and it's probably like by focusing first on like shooting your own content, that's probably the best way to practically build that sense of confidence and what you like and what you don't like too, right?
Yeah, like I've been on set with so many guys and we have the consent talk and I like the consent and do's and don't talks and I like the sex stills because it's like we're going to foreplay. It's like very slowly stepping into sex. Oh, I'm good with everything. Okay. Please help.
Well, I love that because there's definitely something to overcome, right? Because like you said, like for a long time, guys weren't really brought into those conversations or it was just assumed. And what I love about having consent conversations is we obviously treat everybody equally in the conversation, but a lot of times people are like, oh, well, we've worked together a lot. Like, oh, it's good. Like, I'm good with everything. She knows or he knows. And then you're like, okay, we have this head to toe scan that we do. Right? And whenever you do the head to toe, you're always going to find something. Yeah. And I'm always like, I found one note for you. And then the next time they mention it, so it's just getting people used to talking. Going back to your very first point about I was an amateur sexologist because nobody was talking and I would give them advice.
You got to talk. Yeah. And it's like hotter. It's hotter. Like it's really hard. There's not enough time, Bree. There's not enough time.
We need a part two.
We need a part two. Like, I love porn sex because I know what the fucking rules are. Like, I think that's one of your rapid fire questions. I know what the fucking rules are. So help me know your rules. Like, when I've been in a long-term relationship for like 11 years. And so like that sex is harder even after being together so long, because it's like, okay, we're going to do this sex scene and these are the positions and this is how long and this is what we're doing and this is what we're wearing. My little autistic brain can like wrap around that and be like, okay, awesome, love it. But if we're just having sex and I have to like figure it out in the moment, that shit's fucking hard, dude. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know what you like.
Yeah.
Help me.
I often feel the same way where, again, we think about sex all the time, but in this sort of weird, like we're packaging it. We're like, kind of segmenting it out in our minds. We're like creating it. But then when you're just having it, your brain is so used to thinking about it in this way.
It never goes that way.
Yeah. I think it's one of the unsung struggles of being in the sex industry is the impact that, always working with sex has on that like traditional private intimacy, right?
Well, like also like if I'm having really good sex, why aren't we filming it?
Right.
So like why aren't we? And if I'm having really bad sex, why are we having sex? So like
these are the struggles.
It is the struggle.
These are the struggles. All right, I want to wrap this up with one last question. Okay, so it has been a hot minute since you've been with Adult Time, but you've done some really amazing stuff with us over the years. So I want to hear in a shameless plug, so people can go and search this episode and look for it. What was your favorite project you did with us, and then I want to hear, what you'd like to do with us next, Jay Taylor.
Yes. Okay. So that was immersion therapy. Of course. It was perfect. It was perfect. So immersion therapy is about a woman who is put off by bodily fluids and close personal contact, which is very similar to someone in this room with me. And so her therapist like leads her through a group sex scene, and Angela White is everyone's therapist. Because I mean, why not? Why not? Like shoot for the stars. And so to be on set that day, because you guys are always really nice, it was fucking different. They're like, oh, Jay, come up and look at the set. I want to see how you want it set up.
Well, and by the way, who wrote that story?
Well, I did. I did. So I wrote the thing, and you're like, oh yeah, that sounds really good. We'll do it. And I'm like, okay, Bree. So they had me like, they set up the set the way I wanted. Like I got to choose the cast I wanted, which is Angela, Cody Steele, and Seth Gamble. It's stunning, amazing, all of them beautiful. And everyone was really fucking nice and like coming up to me. So, okay, so for this part, what are we doing? How do you feel about this wardrobe? It was phenomenal. And like the sex was great. And like my favorite part, and like watching it back, it's never, because I was involved in the sex, I wasn't behind the camera. It's not exactly how I would cut it.
Fair enough.
But my favorite sequence, which you guys got because it was so perfect, is Angela talking me through what Seth is doing to her. Mm-hmm. And this was like before audio, but like she's like,
but Angela White is like her voice in itself is audio. It's audio porn, a whole genre. She
like got really specific because I didn't. It's not scripted for specifics, but she's like,
she can riff like nobody's business. That's for sure.
She's like, he's licking me this way, and his tongue, and I'm just like, oh, and I can't see him, so I see Angela and his hands on her. And I'm like, oh my God, it was like a romance novel cover in front of me. And it was just, and then her coaching me through DP, you can do this, you're amazing. Like it was, that was a perfect scene. It's a perfect scene.
So Pure Taboo, immersion therapy, a Jay Taylor story. I think with a billion views, do you think that Angela White could have her own line of, what did you call it? It was like rambling fap. Could she be a ramble fapper?
Angela White can do anything she wants.
There you go. All right. Shout out Angela. All right. I want to hear, if immersion therapy was the best so far, what is the next Adult Time project that you want to do?
Okay. I guess. Okay, I'll pitch it. So, it's an audio I wrote, and it starts with this married couple in a car, and they're just very nice, and they're driving, and he's like, "Oh, baby, you're gonna have so much fun tonight. I'm so excited." And she's like, "Oh, I'm nervous, but I've been so excited. We've been talking about this when we fuck, and I just can't wait. I can't believe we're finally doing this." And so they drive off the freeway, and they're in this little clearing. and they kind of like, oh, you're supposed to flicker your lights in case anyone's here. And they're like, well, no one's going to show up. And then someone comes out of the bushes. And he comes over and it's a dogging scene.
I what?
Dogging. Do you not know what dogging is? Bree, how are you not watching
I come from the world of modern adult compliance where that word is not even allowed anywhere. So can you explain what that is?
So dogging is, it's popular in Europe.
Okay.
Dogging is casual public sex with strangers.
Oh, okay. So we can do that. That's compliant.
Yeah. So
as long as it's consensual, we are good to go.
Super consensual. So he comes up and I have consent in all my audio. So he's like, hey, are you guys new? Can I touch you? You look so good in these stockings. And they kind of like, so I wrote it 2 different ways because I wrote it for 2 men. So the husband and the guy, the guy for a female audience. And then I also wrote it and actually collaborated with my favorite audio artists to do for the husband character. So then it becomes a sex scene where it's him talking to her about how beautiful she is and how she's doing such a good job. And oh my God, look at him between your legs. It's so hot, baby. And then it's like a spit roast situation.
I mean, you had me at spit roast, but are you telling me that it would be an audio porn?
It is an audio porn.
It is an existing audio porn that we can bring to life in a live action version.
I want to so bad, and I have my dream cast.
Okay, well, I think we should do this. I think for those of you listening and watching, if this is something you'd be interested, please let us know. But I love doing porn differently, and I love being innovative. And the audio erotica space is fascinating. And to be able to build bridges and take stories and recreate them in live action, ooh, that's speaking my language. So we can definitely talk about that.
I want to so bad.
Thank you, Jay. It was cool to catch up.
I was so excited. Like when the first clip I saw, I was like, oh my God. I think I was in the car. I'm like, Bree has a podcast.
And here you are.
I'm here. You are. I made it.
You made it. All right, my friends, we will see you next week.
All right.
All right. Thanks, guys. I have not seen Jay since like pre-pandemic. So it was so rad to catch up with her and get a chance to talk about what she's been up to and also get to know her in a way that goes beyond being on set together. I had no idea that she was like a amateur sex therapist turned like sex obsessed turned audio erotica aficionado. Not to mention she taught me a few new things, particularly what ramble fapping is and what dogging is. So if you're equally as curious as I was at the end of this conversation, you can go have fun in your search bar. But please, before you do that, make sure to support this podcast. We really appreciate it. Go ahead and like, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know how we're doing, and we will see you again next week.